Welcome to Words of Wisdom and Guidance, the Guiding Voice podcast. Here we talk about change and healing. Now, this podcast will deliver sessions that will delve into breaking you free from limiting beliefs, changing your negative narratives, and developing tools of guidance and healing to overcome those challenges by offering insights and inspiration and guidance from mentors and coaches and authors and specialists and experts. They all have stories to share with you. There will be moments that will open your eyes, will touch your heart, and will allow you to hear and resonate with them on many different levels. And as intended, will hopefully bring you the change of guidance and healing. So today's special guest is a wonderful lady from Pebbles Coaching. Her name is Suki Collins. So, welcome to my podcast, Suki Collins. Thank you so much for joining me. It's so lovely to have you and to see you again. How are you?
Thank you, Deborah, for having me. I've been so excited since I met you when you said you're going to come and do my podcast. And I thought, right, I've got to do it. And I got to tell you something. Another thing you asked me to do was that you said you can see an aura around me, a golden aura. And you said, let it out. And you said, just go out and just say to the universe, yeah, I'm here. Just give it to me, whatever I'm asking or whatever. I'm always at the receiving end, just let me have it. And I've been doing that. And I tell you one thing, I'm a very positive person, as you know. I walk around always smiling only because the world is amazing and the people in it are amazing. Every day is amazing. Now it's gone to a different level now, Deborah, since I've spoken to you about this golden aura.
Oh,
I love it. I
I
just
love
love
it.
it. I love it. And also on a funnier side, I asked my hairdresser to do some coloring because I do love it. And she's done a golden hair.
Meant to be. It
I
was
didn't
meant
tell
to
you
be.
that.
That's so lovely. I mean, at the moment, we've got such significant planetary shifts and alignment. The energy really is something to be working with right now. You know, we're in spring, everything's
Yeah.
growing, seeds you've planted are now taking root. So, what you're seeing, Suki, is that that energy, and you're working with it. That is just amazing. Well done. That is lovely to hear. So
Thank you.
Suki
Awesome.
has her own business called Pebbles Coaching. And I actually have seen Suki shining her light in a room full of people and giving them some mentoring and coaching advice. But having, in a business context, that is wonderful. But it really has this underlying flow of health, wellness, being able to support yourself. And it's not just being in a working environment, is it, Suki? So tell us a little bit about, your background is in human resources. I mean, it's just crazy how you've started off in an area to do with the betterment of people anyway. Okay, and now you're really bedding into that with Pebbles Coaching. So where did it start? How long have you been doing it?
Well, coaching itself, I got to tell you, I got to go back. My career was initially I started in finance, my career. Science, no, my PhD, I started a PhD in science. Didn't actually like it at all because I just hated it being in the room on my own. So my husband said to me, "You are not a person to be shut away in a room." He said, "You need people around you." So I started a career in finance then. And then I think the company that I was working for was going to make, well, they gave us two choices. You either move to Ireland because they were moving to Ireland, or you get made redundant. And I thought, well, move to Ireland. I just got married. That's not an option. So I got myself made redundant, as they call it in those days. I think they used to in those days. I don't know whether you remember or not, Deborah. It was a while ago. It was the beginning of late 90s and 1990s, late 90s. And they used to offer, if you lived in a developing area in Wales, you could choose to do an MSc or something to then further your career from where you were to start off with. So when I went and talked to the people, they offered me two MScs. One of them was in human resource management, and the other one was in, funnily enough, in environmental well-being, health kind of thing, looking at the both. And if you look at them both now, they're both been developing side by side, which is really
True.
interesting at that time.
Yeah.
I think you, yeah, I talk about like pivotal moment. I think that's one of the ones I think had two ways of going. Either way could have been. An interesting thing is it all leads to Pebbles in the end, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So I then got a career in when I was doing after my HRM, I got a career then in medical school in College of Medicine, Cardiff. It was a 3 month contract and then it grew into a permanent contract. And while I was in medicine, I met then the current HR person then in Swansea University. They were going to develop a medical school. So, but there was going to be a different type of medical school. So they approached to me and they had hunted me, I suppose, as the old-fashioned way of doing it. And I applied and I got the job. At the same time, I met one of my coaching gurus, David Clutterbuck. He was in Cardiff doing a presentation. David Clutterbuck is a coach guru. Professor David Clutterbuck had written loads of books. And then we were just chatting. I was in the committee in for CIPD in Cardiff at that time. And then he said to me, "What are you up to?" And I said, "Oh, I just said, I got this job." I said, "I'm going to make it innovative. And one of our targets is to get to the top 10 in the medical schools in 10 years was our drive for the School of Medicine in Swansea." So David said to me, "Well, what's your line of, how do you manage?" He said. I said, "I don't like to give them answers." I said, "When they come to me, I always like to say, what do you want to do?" And I always got the strategic plan in my mind. And then he said, "Brilliant. You are a coach," he said. "Go forth and just coach management." So that's what we did in the medical school. We hit the target. And in 2015, then it was a crunch time at the medical school. HR was being revamped and all that stuff. Though I found myself two choices again. Either I get out and do something else, or just doing the mundane tasks. They decided they were going to turn it upside down. So the people who were leaders then were going to become workers, and they wanted this, flip it across like that. And I thought, oh my God, I can't work for some of these people. They're not qualified. They don't have professional standards. So I thought, great. Then, funnily enough, somebody you and I know very well, Professor Gareth Davis, I bumped into him in one of the buildings in ILS, and he said, "Good, just go and create your own business." He said, "Just go and do it." And he walked off. I thought he doesn't know. I think he might have forgotten that bit. So I thought, great. So 2015, then I started thinking, how am I going to create my own business? Then what I did was I went around the university then, doing little projects, learning how to manage with coaching, understanding. So when I came out of it then in 2018, then 2017, 18, I created Pebbles Coaching. But then it's just started from there. It's
That's
all small
amazing.
actions. Remember in one of the talks that I did with you?
Yes.
Remember one of the talks I did with you, pre Pebbles? Along the way, I realized that one of the things that keeps me going in a positive mindset is aligning my values with whatever the organization is doing and also the people around me are doing. So those things I think have always been there. So one of my pebbles, of course, is values. I talk about values everywhere to people. People don't even have their own values, which I think is quite sad because you should have your own. That's your compass that guides you who you are every day, your actions, how you interact with people, and how you come out. And then you can say, "Oh, that was really well done. Oh my God, that is awesome." That kind of feeling comes from aligning your values. And the other one of my values, of course, is pebbles, ripples, small actions, and people. Those three things for me are the pillars of anything, in your personal life or in your professional life. So in 2020, then what I did was in between, I had a staff engagement role at Swansea University. I kept that going by the coaching MBA students. Last year, I decided that's it. I'm going to go solo now. That's it. Pack everything up, set up the company, just go for it. So Pebbles Coaching was that's it launched, and I met you then in beginning of this year then. So it's been going very well. But I think, like you said, Deborah's been amazing, by the way, guys. Deborah's been one of those little lovely people just pop up and goes, "You can do it. You can do it. Shine your light," and all this stuff. And it's lovely to meet someone like you once in a while to know that what you're doing, what you're in the correct, going in the right path is important. Not that I
Absolutely.
need affirmations, not that I need affirmations, but it's that warm hug. It's like the universe is giving you a hug every time a Deborah gives you a hug. So it's
Oh,
very much appreciated,
thank you,
Deborah.
Suki.
Thank
That's
you.
so lovely. But that's exactly, the way in which you talk now. It just fills my heart with so much love because, when we, as you say, when you align with your values, you sort of started
Mm.
out telling me that you started in a job that you knew wasn't right. A lot of people do that. And at a young age, a lot of young people don't know where they're going, and they do end up
Yeah.
in very difficult circumstances then, because we become trapped or stuck. And then I think later on in life we sort of awaken to this, but it's about
Yeah.
really being aware of that, isn't it? It's awareness. So it's
Yes.
that gut feeling, it's that value like you're talking about deep within, listening to that.
Yes.
So
That's
you
we don't
talk
do
about
enough.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do enough. I think it's one of those things, is that we're we live in a world now where noise is everywhere. It's like you're on the phone, you're this, you're
Yeah.
walking on down the street. It's like, how many of us stop and look at a tree and say, wow, that's a beautiful tree, or listen to the birds. If you don't get into those moments of calmness, I don't think you can listen to your gut then. It's only when you're there, the instinct, I think, becomes more louder, and then you've got to listen. So if you actually, it's like that forming a habit, isn't it? You've got to do it every day. That moment, I do meditation and I do mindfulness a lot during the day, and those calmness, and funnily enough, it's almost like you're connecting with your soul.
Yeah.
And then your soul is saying, you've got to be doing this now and don't do that. Do this, do that, or do that. And then most of us just ignore it. I think if you haven't, I suppose, grown it, what's the word I'm looking for? Enriched it, that gut feeling,
Yeah.
it becomes then smaller and smaller. You don't listen to it, you just ignore it. But if you grow it, it becomes part of you. And then it tells you then, like when I met you, for example, it was like, whoa, that moment. If I was full of those zing, 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 I would have missed that moment.
Yeah.
But you said, listened. Those things are then aligning, I think, with your values and the energy around you. I'm a great believer in the energy around you. I wouldn't say I'm a spiritualist rather than a religious person, I think, even though my background is Hinduism. But I think more about the spiritualism around the world, around me, because I got very beautiful woods behind me. And sometimes, I think I told you this as well, when I go out there, I can just feel the energy coming from the earth, the woods, the birds. And I think I did tell you the clouds floating by. And it's just amazing to be that. I think that's when your instinct and your inner child, then, or whatever you call his soul, then becomes almost in par with you when you're talking to it. I think those are
Absolutely.
important as well.
100%.
Yeah,
It grounds you. Being in one with Mother Gaia, with the earth, that energy. I mean, I'm a big fan of hugging a tree. Because honestly, the
I totally,
energy that you
yeah,
can feel, and
yeah.
I often say to my students anyway, Suki, oh, and when was the last time you took your shoes off and actually walked on the ground? Literally
Exactly.
walked on the ground. And
Yeah.
during the Easter holidays, I unfortunately I lost my dog. I had to put her to sleep, and I was in
I'm
so
so
much
sorry.
grief. And
I'm so
my
sorry.
my love for being outside included her. So my nephew, who is 12, he stuck to me like glue. He hasn't done this in a long, long time, but every day he
Yeah.
would ring me up, let's go for our walk. And he would encourage me
Oh,
to go on an adventure. So I was encouraged to go off the beat, off the normal path, and let's go down in here and go down this pathway. It was almost like it was bringing my inner child to life again. And in we walked this one day in amongst these beautiful tall trees, and the surface of the ground was this beautiful, soft sort of
Ah,
foliage and what have you. And I said to him, "Take off our shoes. Come on, take your shoes off." And he went, "What?" I said, "Take your shoes off." And he did. And we walked the whole route through these trees, barefoot over all the tree roots. And it was the most amazing,
amazing.
beautiful experience. I took a picture of him standing on a tree stump, and he was standing there like this posing, and he had two little white feet because he'd had his feet in shoes for so long. He even had colour in his legs before he had colour in his little white feet. And
You can
honestly,
actually see the difference.
yes, it was
Yeah,
so funny. But
awesome.
that's what I said to him. When was the last time you walked like this on the ground? And he loved every moment. And every day we did that. So it really is. But, we talk about the ripple effect. And I want to go back to that
Yes.
because I love the ripple effect. I mean, I'm just going to show to the camera my card. This is in my soul coaching deck. And this card, when I got this deck, actually, I saw this card and it just called to me. It's called Simplicity. And it's these stones that are just balanced like this, one on top of the other, but it's surrounded by this calm water, but there's slow little tiny ripples all the way through it. I love this card. And when I met Suki, this card came to my mind because she was talking Pebbles Coaching, and I said to her, I really can just see pebbles stacked on top with this water, and this is the card I saw. And I said that to you, didn't I, Suki?
Yeah.
That's what you've got to
Yeah.
develop. And I think you have done a banner and you for your
Ah,
marketing and what have you, and you included that sort of
yeah.
picture in your mind. But because the ripple effect, when we shine our light, when we give something, we say something, we do something, and we just shine that, we have that ripple effect, and we don't know necessarily what
No.
the end result is. So talk to me what your thoughts on ripple effects are.
Well, I mean, Pebbles, as I said to you, the name, I mean, I don't know where it came from. I think it's one of those things, I think, because my background, as I said to you, I'm Sri Lankan background, living in Swansea. I was then just thinking, what am I going to call my company? And Pebbles just popped into my head. It was just amazing. I mean, for me, it fits in quite nicely with coaching because coaching is about that. It is that small actions you make a difference in your day that will then start to make you become a better person than you started in the first place without the coaching or with coaching. You can I do self-coaching or not? It depends on whether you work with a coach or not. The ripple effects, pebbles, then you can imagine. Then I started thinking, right, how am I going to develop this? And of course, the small actions, the pebbles, the three values that I talk about, of course, are ripples. Gareth, of course, calls them, they should be called butterfly effect and chaos instead, he said, because that's what I tend to do with people, he said, cheeky blighter. But we'll park that. Ripples is about small actions. Every day you make a small, you know, to be small, I know, small difference you make in a day. It's like I was just telling Deborah, I did a workshop for a conference last week, and it was full of all these heads of schools, heads of departments, heads of schools. They were all there in A&F, accounting and finance. And I asked them one question: how many of you take half an hour a day for yourself, just for self-reflection, to see whether what worked for you well that day, what didn't work well for me, and what I should have done that I didn't do, should I be starting something new? So I asked them half an hour, and only one person in the room is about 50, 60 people, like probably, I can't, 75 or whatever they said, I can't remember the number now. It was a room full of people, and only one person put their hand up, and I was amazed. And they all looked like, oh, what that does to you as a human being is that you're just on this treadmill, you're doing your own stuff every day. You don't see any difference because you're not making a difference. You're not actually creating anything else because you're on this treadmill. So the ripple effect is all about that half an hour. It's a very small action, half an hour in a day, Deborah, right? Most of us are, I don't know, up for 16, I don't know, if we sleep for 8 hours, 16 hours. So half an hour from that day for yourself to start making that change is one of the ripple effect that I introduce to my clients. Because if you don't, I mean, can you imagine every day you take half an hour, right? In a week, then that's what, 3.5 hours almost, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
3.5 hours of your time. If you actually start thinking about how to become more focused in those half an hour, then, because I tend to do like a traffic light start off with, then I start to then ask them, right, where you want to go, start planning, think like that in that half an hour. Then, can you do some learning? Can you do something, whatever works for you? If you start doing that, that ripple effect is amazing, Deborah, because what it does in that half an hour is it increases your time throughout the day as well. If you know, if you start doing it, it's that reflective piece. Then what you then start to do then is you stop doing things that's costing you time and it doesn't give you anything in return. Then you start to gain all that time. So you suddenly realize as you're training yourself on this, got to keep going, automatically then this ripple effect is you've got all this time on your hand and you're becoming a better version of yourself just by half an hour throughout the day. And then you think, oh my God, I got enough for a cup of coffee with somebody. I never used to have that, this and that. And people used to say, how do you do so much? But what they don't realize is most of mine is thinking time. I don't just go and do it. Most of it's thinking time. When finally I got that plan in my head to execute, it's a ripple effect again. Small actions in my head, plan, do, going on and do it. Then you got so much time to do stuff. So this ripple effect, small actions, is so powerful. It's amazing.
yeah.
Like even if you do 10-minute meditation a day, I mean, out of that half an hour, 10-minute meditation a day, and that alone again, oh my God, it opens up so much. Your mind grows, your brain connects, all these reconnections going on. All this happens in that 10 minute of meditation is so powerful, but it's still within that half an hour of taking time for yourself without feeling guilty. That's what I mean by the ripple effect. It's just small
Lovely.
actions, but intentional, purposeful small actions.
That's
That's what I
lovely.
call
I
them.
mean, that's kind of links to the idea of routine and ritual. What do you think about routine and ritual? What is your
Yes,
opinion? Yes. On both? Do you think
I
there's a
think
difference? What do you
are,
think?
I think there is a difference because rituals tend to be habits that you just automatically doing it, I think, without realizing it more or less. It becomes a ritual for you. Like, for example, for me now, my rituals are my facials. They're my rituals because I have them every 4 weeks. They got to happen. They got to do it. So it's a ritual. For me, ritual is about something that enriches you. It's about you. It's about the ritual that you've done something and you feel I think it sort of perhaps goes back to, when you do rituals in Hinduism or in whatever, everybody talks about rituals, the spiritualism comes in perhaps. So for me, rituals are more treats and it's about enriching. Whereas routines are stuff you do because you have to do them. If you don't do them, it doesn't happen. Like for example, routine. If you don't hoover the house, it doesn't happen. If you don't brush your teeth, those are routines. So I think there is a difference. Routines are, I think, like an end product, whereas ritual is enriches you. I think that's the difference I see it as for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I agree with you 100%. But I've also got this thing now where I believe you can make your routines your rituals and your rituals a routine. Because at the end of the day, okay, if you can align with that, even if it's brushing your teeth in the morning and you are looking at yourself in the mirror and saying in your mind, you are beautiful today. Look at you. I'm so proud of you. Just by, even if it's you,
Yeah.
you're not saying that you're thinking it, you're looking at yourself in the mirror. Because a lot of people
Yes,
can't even
yes.
look themselves in the mirror and spend that self reflection time or that self care time looking at themselves. I never did. I mean, I didn't look at myself for a long time in a mirror. I would never take a selfie. Good God, that would be the last thing I would do. But now, and it took me a bit of time. It had to become a routine ritual for me. So I used to do that a lot, and brushing your hair in the mirror, that type of thing. We do it, we go through the
Yeah.
motion. But I think it's that what we've talked about, that little bit of that pause, that stop, and
Yes.
that
Yeah.
self-awareness, bringing it back to that, isn't it?
Agree. I
100%.
agree. And yeah, one of the things you said with the mirror was very interesting because I didn't actually do this with the lot I did on Tuesday last week, but with the lot I do with yours, with your group in Trinity St. David's, I asked them at the end to look at yourself in the mirror and say your name. I always say Suki Collins, so Sukanya Collins, my full name, and say, I love you and accept you as you are. I think that is so important to say that, I think. So when you were just saying about the ritual and say how beautiful you are, it's about, I think, that affirmations is almost like you as a human being, the path you're walking is wonderful. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's that difference you make people around you. I'm not saying that I'm a saint or anything, far from it. It's about bringing, for me, that positive thing into someone's life and making sure they see the other side of things. And if you're not feeling well, then just say, you can't just say snap out of it. It doesn't work like that. It's about, right, what can you do that's different? It's again, the small actions, ripples, those things again, Deborah, all come together, interlinked. And I think it's important that. So when you actually look at yourself in the mirror and say you can do it, like you said, you couldn't do it before, but now you are aligning with everything, your soul, your values, who you are. And if you can actually look at yourself in the mirror, say that. And if you feel so proud of yourself, and I do say sometimes I love you as well to myself in the mirror as well. And most of the time, I think I do that probably more than once in a day, depending on. And sometimes if I've been to hairdressers more than once, it's just lovely. Got to do that. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is about self-care. And, that is when you become so much stronger within yourself. So that when life
Yeah.
presents to you those moments, those pivotal moments, those moments, those choices, like you mentioned, I think twice you'd had these two choices. And can you
Yes.
recall, I mean, back then, I mean, you've grown so much yourself over the years and what have you, because we're different people, aren't we, at different ages and what have you. But when you have that first sort of choices and what have you, sit there, can you recall how you felt, what your emotional feeling was when you had to make a choice and you weren't sure whether it was going to be a right one?
Well, I'm not when it comes to making decisions, I'm not a very emotional person when it
Oh,
comes to making decisions. I know I shock you actually from the person I am. I control my emotions. So when I'm making decisions, normally, like it's about right, these are the choices that are open to me. Then what are the consequences of each of those choices? And then how do they fit in? I mean, unfortunately, we couldn't have any children but it worked out that I had cancer, which was caught because we couldn't have children and they caught the cancer as a result of it. So these things happen in your life. You can't just say, oh, whoa, whatever, and shut down. So my husband was very important. The reason I use was is because I lost him 3 years ago now, coming in May. And for me, he was the most important thing in my life. He was when we met. We known each other for 40 years, the day he passed. And for me, whatever decision I make, whatever, I always think, right, if I make this choice, what does that mean? How much time can I spend with my husband, Hugh Wyndham, and whatever Wyndham I used to call him, even though it's his middle name. And I used to, everything in my life then was about him, the choices. But since 23, now I got to decide, I know it sounds ridiculous, right? Grief. I think when we were in the TED talk, somebody said, grief offers you opportunities as long as you are there to receive them. And that is so true because the love that I had from Wyndham, the love that I have, the love is just immense. And I can hear him going, just go forth and do your own stuff. Just make a difference. Just go and do it. So every decision I ever made, the pivotal moment, always been him in the background doing it. like in tw last year, 15, him again. I thought, wait a minute now. I can hear him going, oh my God, you're going to end up in a job now. You're going to hate now because they're restructuring. Just get out and do your stuff. Just go and do it. So that's what I did. So it's all about, I think, decisions. It's about, I don't get emotional to say, oh my God, that's the end of something. It's always about what opportunities are out there. What difference can I make to the people around me in the world? Remember, I said to you HR or environment, those two. The reason I used human resource management, I think, is when I was sitting down thinking, I thought, oh, I love people. Not that I don't like environment, or don't get me wrong, but also I love people. Is that people connection again? So that's why I decided to go down the HR route. But the Pebbles now, of course, is sort of connecting with that choice so many years ago does come in. So I think even though people do say you make choices and you like the pivotal moments, and I think if you make the right choices, then I think you grow. But in order to make those right choices, I think you need to have that positive frame of mind to make the right choices. So it's like that 2020 thing going on there, isn't it?
Oh,
And you've got to
absolutely.
do it. And don't get
Absolutely.
emotional. Yes, yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't,
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you about you not using your emotions because your heart is Hugh, his
True.
voice, and
That's true.
this is what you are following. So whether you've
Yeah.
given it, you've got a name there, you've got his voice there, and what have you. And I'm sure a lot of people listening would probably go, I'm the same. I feel the same,
Ah,
you know? And it's not that
yes,
logic. Back in the when you made that HR decision as opposed to the environmental wellness kind of feel and what have you, probably it wasn't as popular. It wouldn't have been as at the and sometimes, right, you go along a path that is still going to bring you back to your soul purpose. And that's exactly what has happened for you. I can see that.
yeah,
And you've come along and now you're
yeah,
saying there's that alignment. And you are
yeah,
emotionally invested in the alignment, no doubt about it. Of course, we have to use our logical brain, and we do live in a 3D world, and we have to, look after ourselves in that context as well. But when we overthink things, often it's about that ego, the negativity, and it also can keep us quite stuck.
yes.
So I think,
Those are the
you
ones.
did sort of say that,
Yes,
if
yes.
Gareth hadn't sort of gone, in almost like a flippant way, just go and do your business. Go and do it. Open your own
That's what he
business.
said. Honestly,
Exactly.
he was coming, yeah,
But you
he was
know
coming down
what?
the steps and he
Yeah,
just went, yes, yep, yeah,
you were ready to hear it at that moment.
yes,
Up until that
yeah,
point, you weren't. You were in your head about
no,
something. You were still doing a career thing. You were having a bit of a plan, whatever. Taking a leap of faith, taking a risk, really being ready to follow the heart is it can
yes.
take a bit of time, but it takes what it takes. And I think what's meant for you on your path is meant for
Mhm.
you on your path. And it's so beautiful that you still hear your husband's guidance because he is still very much a part of you.
Oh my
He's still
God, yes,
invested.
yeah, yeah, he is, always is. You can hear that. I mean, the way I do stuff, it's like even, I mean, he hated being a passenger in a car because he was like, he just couldn't do it, like, braking and whatever and all that stuff. And when I'm driving on my own, I still talk to him and say, look now, you have no choice. You've got to sit there now and to be driven.
I'm parking where I want to park.
Yes. And I'm speeding when I'm meant to be, like put my foot down. And he used to say, whoa, it's getting near to, but I've got to tell you, I don't do over 70, 75 now. I don't, only because I can hear him going, eight now. No, that's too fast. You know what I mean? So I don't. But then he break and all that stuff. So 70, 75, and he is, yep, I can still, it's amazing, Deborah, because I think it's not about loss. I don't think it is a loss. I think it's this change of direction.
Yeah.
I think grieving is a change of direction for you, I think. For me, it's about, I think, for me to bring, it's like that. Not that I'm saying that Hugh took a lot of my time. No, no, no. It's like, do you know, one of the things I got to tell you, right? I don't know how we did it. when he passed away, and lots of people I remember saying, "Oh my God, we didn't do this, we didn't do that, we didn't talk enough, we didn't do all that stuff," going on. Everybody comes and tells you that when they lose their loved ones. And I was sitting there and I thought, "Blooming heck, we talked about everything. It's amazing." Don't ask me how we did it. We had separate hobbies, we worked differently, we came together. But the time we had together in the day or next day, we told each other everything. So there was nothing left unsaid. So the day he went, died very quickly. It was like, whoa, right. Oh, so you decided to exit now. That's it. Fair enough. Go. And because I knew I don't know whether you ever, I don't know, this is my own spiritualist things I was talking about. Sometimes your soul and your body doesn't quite melt together. Melt, the sense of you end up then having pains and body pains and all the ailments that come with it is because you haven't aligned your body and your soul together. People don't realize body and soul, they need to come together. He
Mind,
was one of
body,
those
soul,
people, I
three
think, in a lot
things.
of pain
Yeah.
always. He played all sorts of sports. Three things, that's true. Mind, body, soul. And with him, I think he played a lot of sports and he was in pain, a lot of pain. I think he held the pain industry, the sprays by himself, I think, almost, Deborah, right? He used to use so much sprays and all that stuff. When he passed away, one of my friend Neil, I've known Neil since we were in college together. Neil is another spiritualist. He does this yoga for 3 hours or something. I don't know the name of it, five different senses yoga or whatever they do. And Hugh actually went to him and said to him, "Tell Suki, I'm free now." And I know that meant that free of pain that he was constantly in, because he always had something going on. He never went to the doctor and say, "I'm aching, whatever." No, he had tummy problems, heart problems, which was hereditary, all this stuff. But I think it's that day when he became free. And I know then it was a release for him, but it was a release for me in the sense of knowing that he's not in pain anymore,
Yeah.
if you know
Yeah.
what I mean. Does that make
Yeah,
sense? It's like that
100%.
knowing. Yeah.
100%. And
Yeah,
you're still hearing
yeah,
his guidance. So that communication is still there. And that is so important for
yes,
you. And he knew
yeah,
leaving you, even though at the time you wouldn't have thought it, but you, like you said, you had your own life and he knew how strong you would be, and you've done that. Look how you've made another leap of faith and just really gone into Pebbles Coaching now full time, so you can really show and shine your light in the fullest, because you don't need to dim that now. That is the beauty I can see in
no,
you.
yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
100%. Definitely.
yeah,
So, I
yeah.
mean,
Thank
just to
you. God
recap
gorgeous.
then,
Yeah,
the the big journeys begin with small steps, don't they? And I think it's
yes,
really the
always.
even small, even pebbles are small. And when you skim a pebble across the water, it takes a little leap and then another little leap and then another little leap. And that's what
Yeah,
we've just got to find every day to do, is take that little leap and come out of those challenges and adversities,
yes,
and just
I
find that
agree.
next little leap, that ripple effect that we can make, isn't it, in our lives?
It is that. And believing in yourself as well,
Yeah,
that if I do it, what difference would that make to me? And I know that half an hour a day gives you so much, right? The more you do in that half an hour, it's amazing that half an hour becomes just your life changer. Again, half an hour in 16 hours is nothing, but it's
no,
that ripple effect, small changes, makes such a difference. And I think one of the things I think you asked me to leading to I call myself a systemic coach, because
yes,
the reason is that you asked me that question and just it popped into my head. Systemic coach, because my whole company is called Pebbles Coaching and Wellbeing Consultancy. Because coaching, executive coaching, we tend to just coach one area. Of most of the time, people say, "I've got imposter syndrome. Just coach me on that," or whatever. And you do that. But that's not the way to do it, because coaching, as the way I said about small actions, ripples, continuous action, systemic. When I'm coaching somebody, I look at the whole person, their positive intelligence, what saboteurs do they have, which affects them, their health, the well-being, self-care, all that is coached into. Lovely, Pep. I tell you, this is not a marketing thing at all. I've been developing a framework based on Pebbles, PBLES, and that include positive intelligence, emotional intelligence is built in there as well, and also positive intelligence to start off with, but it leads then to psychological safety as well. So they're both connected. All that is now I've been developing that framework under Pebbles, and I got two coaches now who are undergoing this Pebbles coaching framework at the moment. So they should come out of it better person in the sense of just gone in. It's like, I'm stressed, but stress doesn't just happen in one level, it's complex. So my Pebbles framework then is that small actions again, all are linked together. That's what I call myself as a systemic coach in that sense of connection. Then you start to connect with the world around you, whether it's work or in personal life. And then the coaching then becomes almost, but I got to tell you, there is a caveat to this. You said self-care. The person who's undergoing got to take that time for themselves on a regular basis to stop and listen and learn. Otherwise, it will not happen. It's not like a panacea for everything. Just because you've gone through Pebbles doesn't mean you come out whatever. No, I'm giving you the frameworks within for you to change your life and the people around you. Because if you don't do it, I mean, the world is just chaotic and it's a mess if you look at it because it will become self-centered. No, enough of that, guys. Be self-centered, self-care, yes, but not to the effect of detrimental to the people around you. That's not it.
Yeah.
So if you notice, everything is connected with my coaching Pebbles, all my Pebbles frameworks, everything is connected. And it's just weird, Deborah, how, like you said, if you're not open to it and just go, yes, and it just happens, and the people that come to you, it just happens, and it just does it. And then you are living the best version of yourself every day,
Fantastic. That is an
which
absolutely
then, yeah,
100%. It's beautiful. So, I want to just say thank you again for coming on and giving us such wonderful inspiration.
thank you.
Your light is just shining through the screen at me, and I'm just like, oh, I want to give you a big hug. So I'm giving you a virtual hug right now, Suki. Thank you so, so much. I,
Fabulous. Thank you. Means a lot.
and I wish you all the best going forward with Pebbles Coaching. I really
Thank
do.
you.
All right, my lovely. Will you take
Awesome.
care? We'll see you soon. Bye bye now. Bye bye.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. And you look after yourself too.